Welcome out to another episode of It's All Been Checked Before. This time we're back on Voyager. Cold Fire. Cold Fire sounds like an oxymoron. Is it? Let's talk about it. You watched the episode. Cold Fire. I'll tell you what's fire is our Patreon. Follow us there. Become a Patreon member. Don't take much. Don't cost much. It costs so little that I use poor English when I talk about it. Cold Fire. Cold Fire. Patreon.com/IEBD. That's the way to follow us. Get a bunch of bonus content. You can watch us doing the episodes. You get the extra stuff. BTS. That's behind the scenes stuff. Patreon.com/IEBD. This is Cold Fire. It's all been checked before.
Welcome out to another episode of It's All Been Trekked Before. Skeleton Crew is here in the Delta Quadrant.
This is Steven.
Olivia James, and we're going to talk about the Voyager episode, Cold Fire. What are your first impressions?
You know, it's a Kess episode, so, as the big Kess fan around here, I was intrigued for a little while. I felt like it hit a lot of the usual tropes for Voyager so far, some horror stuff, a strange life form, Kess and Neelix. And then at some point I was just like, can we get to whatever this is going to be? It was fine. I thought it was interesting, the whole call back to the first episode and that stuff. So no, I didn't hate it. I thought it was fine. It was okay. Yeah.
I'd say a little less than okay, personally.
Yeah.
But
my Kess affection may have, but even that waned as it went on. Sorry, I'm interrupting your first impression.
No, you're fine. Yeah, I would say, I don't know. It just felt really weak on so many levels. I mean, I feel like we expected a little something bigger for the caretaker's companion finally following up on that plot thread.
Yeah.
And then we got what we got.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I was underwhelmed to say the least. When I saw the title, the image that stood out for me, and if you Google the episode or look at IMDb, the thing that stands out for a lot of people in their memories is that image of Tuvok with his face bubbling out and half burned off, which didn't end up being relevant at all, apparently.
Shook it right off.
I mean, yeah, it was, he didn't even have a Band-Aid. The doctor fixed him right up and it was all just back to normal. So that's disappointing. I mean, not because I want Tuvok to be horribly disfigured, but because it made the stakes feel really, really low. Not great. It was what it was. It felt very season one. You're right. It harkens back to the pilot. We started with a very odd, they didn't say previously on, but it might as well have been previously on. And it was 10 months ago, which feels weird because we're already midway through season 2. So you'd think it's like a year and a half ago. But of course, because season 1 was so short, you'd still think you'd be past the 10-month mark by now. It's been more than 12 months since Voyager premiere. Well, you know what? It hasn't. This episode premiered on November 13th and the show launched in January. So I guess it had been 10 months. That is accurate. Okay. But to me, it felt odd that they went 10 months instead of a year or year and a half, or I don't even know.
It was very prologue-y. Hey, in case you missed the first season, which I guess makes sense, I think.
I don't think it does. But
I mean,
it wasn't. I mean, we had Magel's voice, so that always is nice.
Yes.
But yeah, also she had not appeared in the series, so it felt a little weird.
Yeah.
I mean, she hasn't really done Deep Space Nine at all. I mean, she appears Loxana, but she hasn't done that previously on that show. Yeah. And so it's been so long since we've seen her do it previously on for Next Gen that this just felt weird.
I guess I'm glad it happened because in my mind, I was like, I guess I don't remember the caretaker as well as I thought I did. I mean, I remember them showing up and I remember the caretaker or the form he took and all that, but
Banjo Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah, they definitely implied, and we'll get more into this as we go on, but they definitely implied in that episode, and since then, in the 1 or 2 times it's been mentioned since then, that they were looking for a mate. The companion was like a mate, and in this episode, it made it feel more like it was a child, not a mate.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, it gets. I thought I read something on that too. They were like, they thought it would be too boring to just have
another of the same.
Yeah, something. Yeah, is that? Yeah, that's. Yeah, I thought it was where her name was Suspiria too, because I had to write that down. Like, you mean like in the movie, like in the classic horror movie?
Well, they said they were like a sporadic life form or something. So I thought
Yeah.
Suspiria was like right on the nose, that it just felt like it was, you're just saying like, oh, it's a carbon-based life form named Carbono or something, you know?
Well, yeah, and like I said, at first I'm like, oh, you know, I like looking at Jennifer Lean. I thought again, I enjoyed her this episode to a point, and then it was like even she couldn't, even my affection for her as a character and my attraction to her as a person, as an actress, I was like, all right, already, let's go. What? Because the other guys just weren't. I just want to know what the gig was, and finally we got it, and it wasn't that great, and we got into a lot of the Force kind of stuff. Like, I like the Tuvok. I like that stuff. I thought that was interesting. I mean, early on, his training her, and he said something about he says, tomorrow I'll teach you a Vulcan mind control technique that will help you inhibit your giggles, which I think my ex-wife learned that, actually. She learned that Vulcan skill. It was near the end of our relationship, I should say. I mentioned some other tropes earlier, and we kind of jump into, and I know this is going to happen a lot, but that I talk the Gilligan's Island thing, because it's like, well, maybe if we can find the other caretaker, they can help us, they can get us back, since he brought us here. Maybe they can get us back. They didn't lean into it too hard, and of course I know we've got several seasons to go, so I know they're not going to get home. I thought it did set that, at least set some parameters, I guess. But
of course.
And again, it still didn't really go anywhere. I think that's probably a good defining thing for this whole episode, was it didn't really go anywhere. Like the whole talk of, I thought we did learn a few interesting things about the Ocampa, Kessis people.
Ocampa.
Yeah, but not enough. It didn't feel like it stuck, and I felt like, is Tanis? Is he truly? I didn't know if he was a liar. Also, like, was he actually an Ocampa?
I think so. I think everything he said was face value. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
I mean, in terms of like, yeah, he was cagey about revealing too much, but I think his story about them and how long they'd been there and what they were, it was a shame we never got to see inside the space station, because we saw the inside of the caretaker's array.
Right.
This was a tenth the size, but the caretaker's array, they did have the holographic environment where they looked like they were on a farm. But he's like, yeah, in our array, it feels like we're outside. There's no cold sterile steel. And I'm like, well, I guess the caretaker kind of did that, but his was so much bigger. How much space do you really have for several hundred Ocampa? It didn't make a lot of sense there.
The fact that we never saw them just made me think they weren't there, and
they couldn't even do a matte painting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so they called the gatekeeper, not the gatekeeper, the caretaker, gatekeeper, Sporocystine. Sporocystine, yeah. Which sounds like something Discovery used for their spore drive. I mean, I don't know if there's anything related, but
interesting.
But yeah.
Well, we don't know who to blame for writing it, because the story is by somebody named Anthony Williams, who only has 2 credits on IMDb. Well, 2 episodes of Voyager, this one, and then one later this season called Innocence, as well as Young Lady Chatterley 2 from 1985, whatever that is. So it says he wrote the screenplay, and it's Cynthia, new lady of Chatterley, feels neglected by her husband, and she tries to amuse herself with the gardener Thomas, but always gets interrupted by visitors. No idea what it is. It is rated R, not NC-17 or anything like that, but it looks adult.
Yeah.
But then the teleplay was by Brandon Braga, director Cliff Boyle, whatever. So regular hands at the steering wheel, other than Anthony, who, went a little on the romantic side, and yet was writing a child in this. So who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned, so Tuvok is teaching Kes mental control. And I get the annoyance of her giggling and having emotion when those practices are usually done by people without emotion, so he might not be prepared or used to it, even though he's been around humans for over 100 years. But it also is like, why do you think that's going to screw up her concentration? Like, it's not super clear why that's a problem. I don't think, personally.
I guess it's foreshadowing later in the episode when her emotions get the best of her or whatever. But
I mean, but even then, I don't know that it was just the emotion that did it. I don't know.
well, it's all very Jedi language. It's all very, you have to control your emotions. You have to, I think he even says, somebody else says, reach out with your feelings. I think it might have been Tanis. And, I'm trying to think, there's some other ones. Oh, they talk about the dark versus the light. I'm just like, all right. And again, I obviously I like Star Wars. I like the Force, but I usually I don't like Star Wars's Force in my chocolate in my Star Trek peanut butter. I know I don't know if that's to be hypocritical or just, but I mean, this didn't bother me that much. I just thought it was interesting that how deep they got into that talk. So, and maybe I'm jumping too far ahead, but or maybe I'm not. Maybe this, yeah. Is Kess the outrageous Ocampa? I thought he called her outrageous at some point, or somebody.
I did not register that, but that's hilarious.
Let me see if I can find it. All right, maybe no, they didn't. I guess maybe I just did, but and at some point she says she has a good feeling about him, about Tanis, which I think tells us that she doesn't quite have this, whatever this telepathic powers. She doesn't quite have him down because, like, doesn't it feel like right off the bat he's up to something even before we hear the voices? Like, he's immediately like, well, you should come with us and leave the ship. And
so I just took that. I could be wrong, but I just took that as we're suspicious of people. He mentions, like, the Ocampa don't leave. We're protected and isolated, and we don't like outsiders because things have gone wrong. That was, to me, what it was about, was just being suspicious of outsiders in general, which, to me, I was like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I didn't bump on it as him being suspicious in general. So you're talking about Tanis. He's been mentioned several times, played by Gary Graham.
Yeah.
Who is best known for Robot Jocks, The Jackal, Prelude to Axanar, playing Ambassador Soval, whatever that is. It looks like a Star Trek. Yeah, Star Trek fan film maybe, but it's only 21 minutes about various retired leaders discuss their experiences of the 4 Years' War between the Federations and Klingons. So he plays a Vulcan in that. Oh, yeah, it's got Tony Todd, Richard Hatch, Kate Vernon, J.G. Hertzler. Some good names in it. And then also 12 episodes of Star Trek Enterprise, where he plays Ambassador Soval, the same character he plays in the short. Yeah. So he's a Vulcan ambassador in the pilot, as well as throughout all 4 seasons of Enterprise.
And I was reading, he did not enjoy his Voyager time. He had a much better time on Enterprise, he said.
Well, he was in Enterprise a lot more.
Yeah, and he did a ton.
This was his only episode of Voyager.
Yeah, he did a ton of guest stuff, 70s and 80s TV. So
okay,
I think we just lost him a few years ago, but he was a solid guy showing up in shows. Oh yeah, he was Alien Nation. That was his big show. Yeah.
Under his trivia on IMDb, and I have not done any research to vouch for this, but it says on IMDb that he was a finalist for both the role of Captain Sisko for Deep Space Nine and Janeway for Voyager.
Interesting.
I mean, I would imagine that both those shows cast a relatively wide net that was not set by gender or race. So I would believe that they saw a white man for those roles, but I just can't imagine him as a Star Trek captain.
His Wikipedia picture, well, it's from 2012, but I feel like he always played baddies in my mind. Incredible Hulk, Chips, Dukes of Hazzard, T.J. Hooker, Starsky and Hutch, Policewoman, a lot of the usual stuff. David Cassidy, Man Undercover, going way back. But yeah, but Alien Nation, he played the good guy. I never saw that show, but it got good reviews.
He starred in it, yeah, even though that's not one of his best known for on IMDb.
Yeah, that surprises me. And then we just lost him about a year ago.
It does say on Memory Alpha, which I would view as more reliable than IMDb, that he was considered for both Sisko and Janeway before the decision that Janeway would be female and Sisko would be African American. So yeah. It's on Memory Alpha. I would imagine that comes from somewhere. Oh, it says it was confirmed by him in 2018 at the Sci-Fi Ball. Sci-Fi Ball 24 in
He was
2018.
also in three
I don't know.
bands: the Gary Graham Garage Band, the Gary Graham Band, and the Sons of Kirk.
Hmm?
Oh, this
Okay.
might not be well, I might have gone too far into Wikipedia. Also a contributor to Breitbart News.
Okay.
So
That's concerning. Don't read any more about him.
nope. Yeah,
So,
I like Wikipedia. Its content has been described as misogynistic, xenophobic, and racist by various academic journals.
makes sense.
Gary Graham. Well,
So when Kes comes back from working with Tuvok to the sick bay, the doctor seems jealous of him spending time or her
yes.
spending time with Tuvok. Are we going down more of this Doctor and Kes thing? I thought we were past it.
Yeah, I mean, everybody in this episode, everybody wanted their hooks and Kes. So
In this episode, or do you mean in the whole show so far?
yeah, I guess maybe you're right. Yeah, they're always.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's whatever. So while they're in sick bay, there's a screaming husk, like the caretaker's husk. It looks like, I don't know, a crystal or something.
It looks like it's in a microwave.
Yeah, it doesn't. But then it like is vibrating and screaming, and there's never any explanation for it.
No, just that. There must be another one of them nearby.
They said it was like an echo or reflection, that it didn't have the life sign itself, like it was like echoing the life sign.
Yeah.
I guess that might be a sign of some alien life form we've never heard of or understand, because that's certainly not something we've ever encountered before.
Yeah.
But we are, meeting strange new races and places and all that.
This is true. This is true. So. But yeah, I was just like, why are they keeping it in a space microwave? But seems like it would be in a more secure place. But the way they shot that was interesting, because they shot it from inside the container looking out at Kes and the doctor. I thought that was funny. Or different, but odd.
Oh, it was 2,000 a compa, not 300, like I said earlier, on that space station. It's a tenth the size of the array.
Oh yeah, they've taken care of that group of Ocampa for 300 years. Maybe that's where the 3 came from. But
I will say a positive thing, not positive necessarily, but like check in the plus column for a really interesting concept that they didn't really go down the path of, was when Tanis said Voyager was a ship of death. And then he mentions like several specific reasons why they think that. And even though we know in context those aren't true, like you can see how that reputation could get out, and you can connect the dots. And I really like that concept of, there are these people out there that think Voyager's awful and they should stay away from it. I wish we'd explored that more.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's putting down breadcrumbs for later, but yeah, I
don't think so.
Yeah, I think it is interesting, because I think I also still took it as like, well, he's just saying people are saying bad stuff about him. But to your point, I think there is a little bit of like, well, yeah, if everybody thinks you're an a-hole, or if you think everybody else is an a-hole, maybe you might be the a-hole, that kind of thing. I mean, we know they're not, but yeah.
Oh, here's where I got the 300. I knew that number didn't come from nowhere. They've been on the array for 300 years.
Yes.
With the female caretaker.
Yeah.
And he's 14 years old, which we were told the oldest Acampa has only lived to be 9. So I'm guessing the average is more like 7 or 8.
He says I think he says something like, I'll tell you more about this later, and then he never tells us.
Yeah, he does.
Oh, does he?
I mean, he doesn't explain in detail, but he says like some have lived as long as 20. The caretaker's companion has given us ways to extend our life and stuff.
Okay. All right. So they're like cats. Some of them live
just within the last couple generations.
Yeah.
And 20 is only 2 lifetimes for them. Slightly more, but not much. But still, that would be like, we find a station of humans. They're like, yeah, the oldest humans live to be 250. And most of us still die by 200. But, we figured out how to hit 250.
And I couldn't decide if that made it feel like Kes is even younger, or just like, oh, that's more hope for her life. Because she seemed very excited about it. I mean, if somebody told me, well, I think I'd be excited if they told me I got another 70 years right now.
But at this point, Next Gen got 7 seasons, and we weren't yet into the pattern where DS9 and Voyager will also
Yeah.
also each get exactly 7 seasons, which
Yeah.
has now disappointed us for every series thus far because none of the rest of them have gone past 4 or 5 or
Yeah.
even 2, right? So it's
Mhm.
disappointing we haven't been matching that 7 anymore. But if you're doing the math and thinking, well, she's 2 and we said the oldest is 9, her lifespan is the run of the series. And this episode would give you hope if you're doing the math and following that closely, like, oh, maybe she'll live beyond the series.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
So yeah, I mean, I think we've kind of hit on a theme for the episode again, which is there's a lot of interesting concepts introduced, but not examined.
yeah, I mean, the whole thing, I think the value of this episode is it opens Kess up to understanding what other things might be going on with the Ocampa. They talk about
Yeah.
dormant
Right.
psychic abilities, and you have to think, I mean, before the Ocampa were driven underground and protected by the caretaker, which we know was because of a mistake the caretaker made, like, what was that species? What were they capable of? And
Yeah.
I liked the thinking of they used to be so much more than they are. And because we've been taken away from the danger, we've been able to get back to that, or at least on our way back to that. And Kess is now taken away as well. So she might have a chance to do more. And yes, the show is going to continue to develop her psychic powers and stuff.
Okay.
That is going to be an ongoing thing, even if other Ocampa are not.
Do we think the Ocampa pretty much like hit the ground running like a baby horse, just in the sense of, and I don't mean that necessarily in a graphic sense, but just in a, like, I'm looking at my cat now, who, cats, whatever, cats or dogs, 7, 9 years per whatever human year. Like, so by the time she's,
7 to 9, your cat's gonna live to be past 9.
oh no, I'm sorry, 7 years to each human year. So I know it.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So
Sorry.
they're kind of on a Kess trajectory early on. Cats are, at least.
I mean, cats and dogs both outlive Ocampa, but I see your point.
Yeah, yeah, right, right. Unless they're
Also,
a
the
big
Ocampa are
dog.
fully adult by age 2, which applies to cats and dogs as well.
Yeah, right. And that's what I'm thinking is like, so yeah, whenever they come out of the womb or however I guess I'm presuming all this stuff about the Ocampa, but like they're talking, I feel like they're talking and getting stuff pretty quickly because she's 2 and she's already doing amazing things to me for whether she's a teen or 2, however you want to look at it. I think she's doing amazing things, but
For sure.
for better or worse.
So we get the scene that never really gets, I mean, it kind of gets followed up on, but not in any real way, where Tanis is talking to the female caretaker and she's basically like, you can have the girl, I want the ship and the crew.
Yeah.
That definitely paints them both as evil, even though I don't know that I'd say Tanis is evil. Like, he's misguided, he's arrogant, he's got a lot of negative qualities, but I don't, there's, at the end of this episode, I'm not left thinking Tanis is an evil villain. It's more that there were some things, like, he didn't care about the Voyager crew for sure. He was fine with them dying, but he wasn't
Yeah.
out to hurt them. It seemed his interest in this was just to help Kess. So it's hard to just write him off as like evil when it's just like, well, no, I'm not going to save you. I'm callous, but my mission isn't to hurt you.
Do we think he felt obedience to Suspiria or just felt threatened by Suspiria and like I should do whatever she says?
See, I don't feel like they had any indication that they were close, like that he and Suspiria were close. Like, definitely by the end, she did something for him and there was some connection, but I don't get the impression that he has regular contact with her or that he's.
So you don't think they were in cahoots? It was just she showed up and was like, "Hey, by the way, while you're here, this is what I'm going to do."
I'm not okay. So to that regard, I'm not saying like she might not have given the heads up, like, "Hey, this ship is here. I want the crew. Go find out what's going on."
Yeah,
I could see that, but I don't think it's like, "Hey, I'm going to destroy this crew for revenge of my mate. Help me get them." I don't think that.
So
I don't think it's that. I don't think she was that explicit in what she wanted out of the crew to him.
Yeah, because when she first has her moment of whatever, I thought the same thing. I thought, oh, she just wants a ship, and I wish Keith was here to say what is a female Nacine caretaker need with a starship, but
Right.
but I thought that's all she meant. I didn't realize it was a revenge thing, like you said, which seemed Yeah, maybe I guess Suspiria didn't have all the facts. It does the ending with Janeway kind of being like, "That's not how we do this." We do get that little moment. I don't know if it's a great payoff, but at least it's consistent. Janeway just being like, "That's not what we do. You guys can leave and we're cool." But yeah.
Yeah. So we see Kes heating the coffee molecules. Like I said, this is
Yeah.
the stuff I remember of her boiling the molecules and then extending that to Tuvok's face. My question on that scene, though, is do we need Neelix in the background reacting? That felt unnecessary,
Yeah.
distracting, and just like, we don't have enough main characters in this episode. It's a Kes episode, so we're going to have some Neelix. Let's throw him in there. And he
Because
went back and forth from being supportive to being jealous, and
yeah.
it didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
There was no through line, so I didn't like it.
But because he doesn't even pull her out of her whatever's going on, right?
No.
Yeah.
And he does like offer to leave, and she asks him to stay. I don't know. It all felt unnecessary. I think the scene would have been stronger without Neelix in it.
So Tanis says, "How would you heat them up?" And Kes says, "With a fire." And he says, "That's right, with the fire of your mind."
The cold fire, would you say? I think Keith would be jumping in here.
Yeah. And then our boy Tuvok, one season sick bay. Is that yeah. As soon as he's grumbling, I'm like, I started to say Vulcans are terrible patients, and sure enough, the EMH was like, Vulcans make the worst patients. I was like, yeah.
Yes, but also extremely forgiving. Like,
yes.
That logic takes the emotion out of it of like, nope, it wasn't your fault logically, which is true, which is absolutely true. Although we have seen so many Vulcans act so petty, it's hard to chalk up Tuvok forgiving Kes to anything more than he, like every other male crewman, is entranced by her.
Well,
how else do you explain it? How else do you explain why he would? I feel like if Harry Kim did that to him, he would not be so forgiving.
You know what? I think you're on to something. I mean, because obviously I've been entranced as well.
Tuvok's 100 years old, happily married with 4 adult children.
That's right.
He's still like falling for it.
They're 16,000 light years away, though. And some of that is just I mean, genuine affection, whether it's romantic or whatever. But and I will say, Tuvok is my inspiration in this episode. Not even at the beginning, just training her, and he has some thought. He develops the toxin to debilitate the Suspiria, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, you almost killed me, but we're cool." And he's kind of going back and forth with the doctor. So I very much enjoy Tuvok. And I'm glad we're seeing a little bit more of him as I know we're going to see a lot more of him, but I enjoyed him here very much. And while we're on me and my attraction to Kes, she has to do a lot of eye acting this episode, and she has very cute eyes. She has great eyes, but a lot of the weight of the episode is on her eyes, and that part she carries out. The rest of it, I'm not blaming Kes or Jennifer Lean. I'm blaming the rest of the story on that, but yeah, it was like, yeah, it's tight on her. And again, I'm not mad about it. And then around here was where I was like, can we just get to what the deal is already? And it did do the thing that I felt like this episode did do the thing I talked about a lot on TNG, which is like, well, there's a mystery. There's a mystery. Oh, here's what it is. And roll credits. Which isn't necessarily always a bad thing, but yeah, the concepts and all the ideas introduced, I think were interesting, but not examined enough. So I didn't think payoff was awesome. So onward home. So, and then I guess Kes kind of does save the day a little bit. She's starting to handle her powers. Again, my alternate episode is Kes goes to Alderaan with Tanis, and goes to Mos Eisley with Tanis. The plan is to go to Alderaan, and then of course Alderaan gets blown up. So, but he was talking very much like a Jedi master. This could be Star Trek ripping off Star Wars, ripping off Star Trek, because I feel like this goes even further than the first set of Star Wars movies, and then I feel like the prequels were like, we're going to take a bunch of that these guys did here, and just keep expanding on that. Nobody can fall in love and all that jazz. But Yeah.
My favorite episode was that Tuvok and Kes are evil. Well, Tuvok is evil because we started him as the mole on the Maquis. But the way he plays everything close to the vest and the way we haven't got a lot of development, what if he was persuaded by the Maquis, has come over to their way of thinking and is biding his time, and then he uses Kes to take control of the crew by manipulating her into helping him and get the Maquis to overthrow the Starfleet? That would have been a hell of a second season if Tuvok got Kes to help the Maquis overthrow the Starfleet leadership.
Just for fun, I'm going to try and remember that and watch future episodes with that in the back of my mind.
It's way more convoluted than Voyager would have done. Maybe DS9 would have attempted something like that.
Yeah.
But
I like that he's that I like that aspect. And he can just he can always just be like, I'm just doing the logical thing. I'm just helping a crew member, That's great. I really like that.
So Tuvok talks about how Kes is far more advanced than she thinks or whatever. Were you getting Wesley Crusher vibes? Because I was getting Wesley Crusher vibes.
Oh, you mean
Traveler and Wesley Crusher and becoming more advanced than his species, the way she's becoming more advanced. I almost feel like by the end of this, they should have a little club, Wesley Crusher and Kes, and maybe some of Deep Space Nine.
That's actually a really good take, because that's a really good beat that she's kind of the Wesley Crusher, because I know she annoys a lot of people. She's the young. They make a thing about how young she is. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to get into where her plotline ends up. But I'm just like, we just had the Wesley Crusher storyline. Yeah. Why are you doing another being who's advancing beyond whatever?
Yeah. It's tricky with her because we meet her and then she's just thrown on the ship with them. But I know I'm an outlier, but I enjoy it. I enjoy Kes even beyond her being an attractive woman so far. But I know our time is limited.
I was so distracted in the hydroponic space scene, the first one and the second one, but mostly the first one, because she kept fondling those flowers.
Yeah.
Like, why do you keep touching them? That's not good for the flowers. Get your hands off.
Yeah. I kept thinking something's going to go wrong here.
She should know better. She grows the flowers. Why are you touching them?
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
And then she burns them all up. Man, that was shocking.
What's that?
She burns them all up. That was
shocking. Yeah. She doesn't know. She doesn't know her own strength.
Yeah, you could read it that way, but then she gets off on it, psychopathically.
Yeah.
It does make you worried about the future of her character. She keeps going down that path.
Right. I mean,
which plays into the evil pitch I just did. So
it's like Tuvok, I think, or no, not Tuvok. I think Tanis talks about the dark versus the light. She's headed down that path.
So let's extend it even further that Tuvok is manipulating her so that the Maquis can take control. But once they do defeat the Starfleet, Kes turns on them and she is more powerful than them. And they build a monster they can't control. And now she's in charge. And the Maquis come to regret it. That'd be pretty cool. Anyway, they talk about the caretaker's companion living in subspace and existing as pure energy. I feel like that's something Star Trek reaches for when they don't want to figure out how to logically explain it to us. They're going to subspace for everything. And pure energy is any being they don't want to put limits on.
Pure energy. Yeah. It's an easy Deus ex machina. And Did you like the girl that they cast to play? I think I would have preferred if she talked in her natural voice, but said the same
dub over
things.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, I thought that took me out of it.
That was Majel Barrett,
Was it?
No, I just made that up.
I did look up the actress. She did a little more acting. I think she recently did some acting. She's doing a bunch of other things too, but her IMDb bio is kind of interesting. I didn't go real deep into it, but
so Lindsay Ridgway, who plays the girl, I don't know who voices. I did not look that up, but the girl that plays the girl is best known for Daddy's Girl, Catskill Dance, and Boy Meets World. She took over the role of Morgan in season 3, the little sister in the show.
Oh, okay.
When they cast her from a little kid to a kid that could actually act. So she had 75 episodes of Boy Meets World. She also did some voices for
Oh.
like Sonic the Hedgehog and stuff. And then she did stop acting by like 2000, other than like she made an appearance in Girl Meets World in 2017.
Interesting. Okay.
But she really only has 2 credits this millennia, this century.
Yeah.
So it does say on IMDb she's a businesswoman, entrepreneur, model, manager, fitness coach, singer, and former child actress.
Yes.
So that sounds to me like I just never picked her and I take what gigs I can get, but I don't know her, so maybe not. Maybe it's something more.
Our other guy in this episode, at least according to at least the way Wikipedia has it, Ocampa Man, played by Norman Large. He's got a decent amount of credits, but he's got a Seinfeld credit. He was the detective. Shoot, I had the title of the episode. It's the part of the episode he's in is the one where Kramer is sleeping like 20 minutes every 3 hours, like Leonardo da Vinci, and then he falls asleep with the girlfriend he's seen, who turns out to be a mob girl, and then they try to kill him. And our guy, Mr. Large here, plays the detective that comes to investigate. So
we probably already talked about that because he did 3 episodes of Next Gen. So
I just saw that. Somehow I missed that in my research.
And he does a 2nd episode of Voyager. Again, all different characters each of these times, except in Next Gen, he was in that 2-part Unification where he played a Romulan.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So
Sparrows Club was the Seinfeld episode, but yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's got 3 Deep Space Nine credits too. I think he's just one of those, working actors. He only has 29 credits on IMDb, which is more than the girl, but last major role, he played 4 episodes in the TV show Goliath in 2021. Before that, he did 3 episodes of Veronica Mars in 2007. So he's been off of TV for a while, mostly 90s, it looks like. But yeah, he does have a 1979 credit, like over a decade before his next credit. So I don't know. It mostly worked through the 90s. So Tanis tries to take Kes, and she fights back, and she can defeat him already, which tells us that she has gone beyond what these new Ocampa can do, and they're just a stepping stone for her. And the caretaker has not helped them reach their potential. She's just and that's part of gels with my vision of her. She's kind of checked out with them. That she's like, oh, here's a toy, amuse yourself, and give them a little bit of their powers, but without like actually helping them get to it. We do see Janeway attack and capture Suspiria, which is cool. I loved that moment. I also love just throughout this episode, Janeway being interested in the science behind all this stuff. Seeing the scientist as captain again. It's such a cool aspect of the show, is how much into science she is, and how much she understands this stuff far more than like Kirk or Picard or Sisko does.
Yeah.
When things get weird.
Well, and I wonder if being 60,000 light years from home or whatever, maybe that helps you focus on other things. But
then she just lets her go, which ends up being the right move, because the spirit is like, oh, I misjudged you. Which that's not a like totally crazy conclusion for this plot to be like, oh, I showed you mercy. Maybe you are telling the truth and you're not as evil as I've heard.
Yeah.
Great. But then they let her go and she leaves. And then Janeway's like, well, we're going to keep an eye out for her as we keep driving home. We're not actually going to look for her. We're just going to keep driving home and hope that maybe she jumped somewhere along our way.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's a spoiler to say that's it. I don't think we ever hear about this character again.
Yeah, I think it's a wrap up.
Like this was the follow-up from the pilot. Done. They did it. But they definitely tried to leave the door open at the end of this episode, as they did at the end of The Caretaker, of, well, maybe she's out there and she can get us home after this. Like, maybe we'll find her again and she can get us home. I kind of feel like they should have. I feel like it's kind of cheap that they did it, but also I don't want another episode of her.
Yeah. Well, and Wikipedia calls it a direct sequel to the series premiere, which
it is.
Yes, but not really, right?
I mean, I think most shows would have done this as episode 2.
Yeah. Like, is Wrath of Khan a direct sequel to Space Seed?
Yeah.
I guess it depends on how you look. I
would say so.
When I hear direct sequel, I think, oh, it should be the next episode, but that doesn't necessarily make. Yeah.
I think direct to video, direct to VHS. Which we all know Wrath of Khan was so inferior to Space Seed. That makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, you're being facetious. But this, we didn't love Caretaker. And we're not going to rank this against because they're different seasons, but I would definitely rank this below Caretaker.
Yeah, that was it. Was that the first episode?
Yes. We had that
yeah,
as 10th of 15 for season 1,
yeah,
so it wasn't a
yeah,
super strong pilot.
yeah.
But I still think this is worse.
Yeah, it is. Like I said, other than I like looking at Kess's face, and I thought she did some good stuff here. And like we said, some interesting concepts introduced, but not really looked at.
We'll say, in the wrap up, this bothered me, and I know it will bother Shane because this is one of his biggest pet peeves in fiction is when characters lose their powers. It
Yeah,
bothered me that they fly away and Kess is like, I can't do it anymore. When clearly what she was doing had nothing to do with the
yeah,
other Okampa. I
right.
guess you could say she might be drawing in the energy from the female caretaker, but nothing about her powers outside of this episode lend you to believe she's drawing on them, because it certainly
Right.
seems like her people had these powers before the caretaker's companion showed up.
Yeah,
And later she's going to exhibit the powers when the female caretaker's not around. So I don't get why her powers are suddenly gone here, unless you're saying it's like a loss of confidence, like maybe she had in her head she could only do it because of them. But that doesn't make sense either, because there's nothing about her character that says like, oh, I don't have the confidence to keep doing it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, the enjoying killing the plants was weird, and then Tuvok saying to embrace your darkness just plays into my alternate episode and gets real creepy.
Again, it's like an interesting little like drop in, but then yeah.
Yeah. Any other notes before we rank?
Nah, that's all I got.
Yeah, this episode was not. I mean, we've already talked probably longer than it was deserving. Who was your annoyance? I know you told me at least one of these, and I've already forgotten.
Tuvok was my inspiring. Annoying. Kess's scream was really annoying.
Okay,
As
so
much
Kess.
as I like Jennifer Lee, is it Jennifer Leanne?
I don't know. I never pronounce things right, so let's just say
yeah.
Kess's
As
scream.
much as I like Kess and her screaming was weird. So it was that or pushy Tanis? You know what? Let's go with Kess screaming. Let's go.
Okay. I went Kess's scream for you. I went with Tanis. I was annoyed by him. I thought he was so tunnel visioned and just not a very likable character.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
So yeah. Who are you having a drink with for Cold Fire?
Kess.
Okay.
I'll balance it out. The annoying.
That's your third episode in a row you've chosen Kess. 4 of the last 5. And 5 of the 9 episodes so far this season.
Yeah, I like her.
You're gonna be so sad when she's gone. I'm 2 or 3 down season 1 too. I mean, I think you're like 7 of 9 at least as much. That's what
I was gonna say. I mean, well, maybe they'll find a cool replacement for her.
they do overlap, which I applaud, because a lot of shows would be like, let's end one and then we bring in another one.
Yeah.
Kess and 7 overlap like, I want to say 4 or 5 episodes.
Okay.
So yeah, thankfully, I think that was a big plus in the column of the overlappingness instead of just.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure they already knew that one was Xing and one was entering, but yeah. My drink is not Kess, because I assume I wrote specifically not Kess because I assume whenever I drink, she's gonna all of a sudden bubble it and boil it in my face. So not drinking with that girl. Who was your inspiring? You said Tuvok?
Yes. Yeah.
See, I did give Kess inspiring, this is only the second time both this season that I've given it to her. You've already given it to her several more times than I have.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do think, despite my issues with the writing, I think it was mainly a writing problem. Sorry, Brown and Braga, but I will say all the shows Brown and Braga has done since Star Trek was over make no sense. So he's not a very cohesive writer. Like, he was showrunner of a couple sci-fi shows on network television right after Enterprise, because he's one of the big guys on Enterprise after Voyager. But his post Star Trek stuff doesn't make sense. So that might be a Brandon Braga thing. Yeah, Kess overcame that to be a character that embraced herself, found confidence in herself, could do things she didn't think she could do, and then didn't question it, and no imposter syndrome, no, didn't let anybody else distract her or tear her down. And was very confident in where she stood. Like, they weren't going to convince her to do anything she didn't want to do. So I would say her strength of personality is what won her over for me in this specific episode. Let's rank the episode. At the bottom right now, very bottom, and I don't necessarily think this is going to hit the very bottom. I think it's where to start. Very bottom is Persistence of Vision, where they have the violent hallucinations.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. my recency bias and my Kess bias is going to make me put this above, but I don't have a strong argument beyond that.
I'm seriously torn,
Yeah.
but
I mean,
I do
we're in range.
think right in this moment that it might be slightly better, but I also think that is recency. I do think
Yeah.
like if I was watching them back to back, I might not
Yeah.
agree with that.
It's very
Let's-
similar. Weird alien makes weird things happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
So above that is Initiations. Okay, on Youth, played by Aaron Eisenberg. This is below for me. That wasn't a good episode, but that one made more sense. And Aaron Eisenberg's performance was certainly better than Tanis or the female caretakers.
Yeah. Just for fun, what's above that?
Twisted. Well, we're torn between Twisted and Tattoo.
Oh, okay.
Tattoo,
That's the one
yes.
that we're
Yeah.
Yeah, Voyager, you're struggling. It's weird the chasm between Voyager and DS9 right now. I mean, it makes sense. One's in they're still figuring it out, and the other one's
okay. I get that, and that's my first instinct is to be an apologist for Voyager and be like, they're still figuring it out. But the thing is, when Deep Space Nine was halfway through season 2, it wasn't this bad.
Yeah. And this is where I miss Keith because I'd be curious if he's like, because he talks about it, and I think it makes sense to an extent of like, well, everyone's already kind of done everything, so now they're trying to find new ways to do things, and they're not doing it. They're struggling, obviously, but DS9 is doing it. They're finding new ways to do things. So
well, Voyager had all the attention because they launched UPN and stuff, so the network was breathing down their throats and second guessing their decisions, unlike Deep Space Nine that they left alone.
I say this: it's not like I'm hate watching or hating. I'm not hating the episodes. They're just not. I still like the characters. I just don't like the episode.
There's good. That's the thing, right? There's some really good characters in Voyager.
Yeah.
And there are definitely some characters that are underwritten right now in Voyager.
Yes. Yeah.
And so that's where you're like, I don't hate this show. But I'm looking at Deep Space Nine at this point in season 2. I'm not going to say it was super strong. It was Sanctuary, was their 10th episode of season 2, which was a group of refugees came through the wormhole looking for their home world, and Kira had to deal with them. It wasn't a great episode, but it was certainly better than this. So, and if we go back to Next Gen, because I would say Next Gen was stronger in season 2 than this one, but I could be wrong. Oh, season 2, episode 10 of Next Gen was the Dauphine.
That's That
was we enjoyed that one. I was gonna say it ranked relatively high for the season. Wesley Falls for the Future Leader, and it was our girl. Oh shoot, where's her name? Madchen Amick.
Yes.
Yeah. Maybe if the female caretaker's companion had been Madchen Amick, we'd be talking differently right now. Mm-hmm. In fact, I guarantee you it goes up at least 2 slots if it's Madchen.
Yeah, we had fun with that one.
I mean, but part of that is just who it is. Like you got a really strong guest star who hadn't yet gotten famous.
Yes.
So I do think Voyager overall is weaker than both Next Gen and Deep Space Nine at this point in their development.
Mm-hmm.
And yet at the same time, Janeway's had far more development than Sisko had at this point in Deep Space Nine. Well, so I don't know.
I was talking about this makes me think like this episode, like I feel like my guy Paris got like the Sulu and Chekhov lines and Uhura lines, like I Captain,
They have for several episodes now, and we started out with Tom Paris as number 2 on the call sheet under Janeway. And season 2, he's so far been background.
Yeah.
He will have more plot. He's not just going to forever be in the background. But lately, Carrie Kim got a whole episode this season. Tom Paris has had not much.
Yeah.
Anyway, next week, Deep Space Nine, The Sword of Kahless. Worf, Dax, and Klingon Dahor Master Kor set out to find an ancient lost relic, the Sword of Kahless.
Bring your honor.
I mean, we've got, right in that description, we've got a Klingon episode. We've got Worf and Dax on a Klingon mission. We've got Kor coming back. Love Kor. Zoe watched this one with me because she asked after the last one, because she watched Little Green Men with me. I think she realizes how much better Deep Space Nine is. And she's like, can I watch Deep Space Nine too? And I was like, yep. And she was immediately like, I love Kor. He's like my favorite. Is he in more episodes? Wow. I'm like, absolutely. We should pull out, because we've been watching some more of the original series. I can't remember the last one we watched, but we've watched probably 8 or 9 episodes of season 1 now. Oh, I think The Naked Time was the last one we watched. We've been skipping around.
Okay.
But we wanted to watch The Naked Time because of she really wants to watch Strange New Worlds, and there was something in that episode that was relevant. And we also had the Sulu shirtless with the sword ornament on our tree for Christmas. But anyway, we'll get to that. But yeah, she was like, I want more Core. And I'm like, well, there's another Deep Space Nine episode, but we should watch the original series episode with Core. And she was like, yeah. And this won't be his last Deep Space Nine appearance, so stay tuned.
Yeah.
Anyway, until then, live long.
Maybe, to 14 or maybe even 20 and prosper.
We'd both be long dead if that were.
It's All Been Done presents
Who's Got the Time?